Hi everyone. I'm being a bit daring today because I'm going off script. I'm trying to wing this one as I'd like to get it done before I have a few other things to do today. But look, I wanted to show you something and I have a reason for that. This was my March 2025 release, The Gentleman's Agreement, which is the Arranged Marriage series, book 7. And there was a reason why I'm showing you this, because you see, this is all very pretty. And I've got to admit that the feel of having my own book in my own hands doesn't get old, even after I've got probably about 130 odd titles to my name. But as pretty as this is, the only way it can help me pay the rent is if I sell it. And to sell the book, you need to market. So if you're keen on learning a couple of ways that you can market your self-published fiction book in 2025, then stay tuned. Right, for those of you who don't know me, I think as I've mentioned, I'm Lisa Oliver. You can just put my name in Amazon. You'll see me. I come up. I write paranormal romances, and just more recently I had branched out into arranged marriages because I wanted to create my own world, and I have been having a lot of fun with that, believe me. But as I say, the key to having your book, you can pour all your effort into your story, you can craft the most amazing characters, you can create the most stunning and unique worlds, and none of that is going to mean diddly squat if your book doesn't sell. You cannot, and I'm going to repeat this twice, you cannot just put your book up on Amazon as a self-published fiction book and hope that it's going to sell. That is not how it's done. Amazon readers will not trip over your sales page in their rush to buy your book. If you are new to being an author, then you need to lay some groundwork. And that is my first tip. You need to start laying the groundwork for your marketing before you've even finished the book. Now, how might you do that? You need to set yourself up on social media. Honestly, that is basically the biggest tip I can suggest. You need to be on social media. Now, platforms, I know they all come with their different connotations. And personally, I hate them. But without Facebook, for example, I probably would never have made a sale in my first book back in 2014 or in this lovely book that I've just published now. The key to using social media is, as I say, you initially need to get yourself set up. So from the very start, before you've even put your book out, you need to have a social media platform that is your author profile. Now, I made a mistake when I first started because I didn't know any of this 10 years ago. And I just used my regular Facebook profile, the one where I shared pictures with my kids and all that sort of thing. I never thought to have a separate profile. And for quite a few years after I started publishing, I really wished I had, because of course the pictures that my kids shared and everything else, my kids are all grown now. We're not talking about toddlers, but my kids were sharing was also being shown to my friends who were my readers. And that wasn't necessarily a good thing. I'm not saying it was a bad thing, but I think if I had set myself up distinctly on my profile on Facebook when I first started, then it might have been a bit easier. I mean, as I say, my kids are grown. They don't care about, if I get tagged by other authors or things like that. They've gotten used to it over the years. And although it was really funny, because I noticed 2 of my grandchildren now are on Facebook. It shows how long I've been around. And I did mention to my daughter, I sort of said, well, do you think I should have set up I would not friend them, like they came up as suggested friends, and I didn't friend them for that reason. And my daughter said, no. If they send you a friend request, then sure, accept it. But if they don't, then don't. Because, yeah, the community that I've built up around my profile are my readers, predominantly my readers and other authors. So, of course, yes. So, cutting a long story short, perhaps I should have scripted this, but anyway, cutting a long story short, set up an individual profile for your author name. A lot of authors also work under pen names. So again, that's why it's really important to have your author name have its own profile and its distinct identity online. And you want to be doing this, as I said, before you've even finished your book. Now, why are you going to do that? What are you going to write about? What are you going to post about if you haven't finished your book yet? The thing is this is where you start to cultivate the person you want to be seen as online. You cannot, as an author online, just be buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. That doesn't work. It doesn't get any traction. Nobody's interested. But your author profile is really useful in following other authors, particularly in your genre. Authors that you love to read have probably got a profile on the platform that you like to use. So start following them. Start seeing what they do. Start seeing how they engage with their readers. It's a beautiful research tool. It honestly is. Now, I use Facebook, so I'm going to explain that example. But for those of you who followed me for a while, you know I have a profile. You know I have an author page. And I also have a private group. And the private group is for readers only. It is usually only promoted in the back of my books, which is something I'll mention again shortly. And so that's how I interact with most of my readers. Now, I will point out, I also have, let's see if I can remember them all. I do have an Instagram. I do have a Threads. I do have a Blue Sky. I do have a TikTok. And now I'm on YouTube. Well, I've come back to YouTube. But the predominant promotion that I do is through Facebook. Oh, I forgot. I also have a Patreon for my readers. But anyway, so what I'm doing is when I'm on these platforms, or on Facebook in particular, is I am interacting as part of my community of readers, authors, whatever it is you want to, call it. And this is where Facebook comes into its own. Unfortunately, no other platform has managed to match it in you being able to find your readers, your genre, your authors, all on the one place. Now, say, for example, you were writing mystery stories, or you were writing a mystery story, for example, then you would go on to Facebook in your author profile and you would type in mystery reader groups, and you would look for groups, and you would join those groups, and you would pay attention to the rules, and you would start following and interacting. It doesn't, before you finished your book, you don't have to do it for very long. But you do need to do probably an hour, a couple of times a week. Go in, respond to people's posts. Still not going on about your book. No. Your book's not finished yet. But, somebody says, oh, we've got a new release. Oh, congratulations on the new release. I can't wait to read it. We often say things online we don't mean. So it doesn't mean to say you have to go and buy that book. But, what you want to be seen is as a supportive author, that you're supporting other authors, because that will become really important. Maybe a reader's got a question and you happen to have read that book that the reader's relating to, then you can answer it. You see what I mean? You want to be part of the community. Now, another part of this, and it sort of lends into like tip 3, I suppose we're up to. Do you want to be a well-rounded person? As much as I spend so much of my day as a writer, writing, reading, editing, marketing, being a self-published author is actually quite a big business, or it takes up a lot of time. The thing is, too, is you want to find other elements of your life that you're wanting to share, or that you're happy to share with your readers. Now, as I say, my kids are all grown. I do not share photos of my grandkids except maybe once a year. We might do a Christmas shoot just so that, I can, and I'll more likely put that on my Patreon than on Facebook anymore. But what I do post online is I craft, I art, not very well. I don't do either of them very well, but I'll make posts about that. I'll make posts about making bread. I'll make posts about the animals that I see out of my office window, birds and things like that. I'm making posts that just show people I'm a real person, not an AI robot who happens to be writing. Excuse me a second. So become a well-rounded person. Now, we're still talking about your author profile. So make sure you're a well-rounded person. Aside from social media, you do want to look at setting up a newsletter. You also want to look at setting up a blog. Now, none of them have the same sort of importance as they used to have. However, because social media platforms change so often, and actually, like, I know a lot of my readers are older people, and they are less likely to want to stay on Facebook all the time. If you have somewhere else where they can stay in touch with you, keep up to date with what you're doing as an author, then those things are really handy to start. Even if you're, put your newsletter out a couple of times a month, even if you've only got 5 subscribers, it doesn't matter. But start posting stuff about the fact that you are writing, yes. But the key thing in those initial stages of marketing is becoming a part of the community. And your community is going to be that genre of readers who ultimately are going to be your target audience when you put your book out. So you've got your book out and you are marketing and you're promoting. By the way, you can go onto Facebook and you can type in, we'll use the mystery reader, mystery book example again. And we'll say, okay, so this time you'll type into Facebook, what would you put? You'd put mystery book recommendations or something like that. And you would look for those genre recommendation groups. That is where you'll be doing your promotion. When your book is out and live, then you can post in there. Again, you don't spam them. You go in. A lot of groups now have rules as to how often you can post. But I think as a rule of thumb, if you join about 10 of these groups, and don't forget to be interacting with other people's posts as well. But if you roughly put in, like in one group a day, or maybe, twice a week, do 5 groups each and promote, do it that way. Just build up a regular promotion schedule. But again, don't spam, don't be pushy, and don't self-recommend your books unless somebody asks. That's just a tip for free. What else have I written here? Oh, yes. Sorry. I should have scripted this, but never mind. Write a series. Now, you're probably, if you're a new author, you're probably sitting there thinking, Lisa, I haven't even finished my first book. And that's fine. But is that book the first book of a series? You see, this beautiful thing here is book 7 in the Arranged Marriage series, another Arranged Marriage series. And it's a standalone, so people can pick this up and they can read it, and they don't have to have read any of the others in the series. But if they like it, there's a list of all my books in the back, including the other books in this series. You see? Each new book you write in a series, you may not hook them on the first one. You may not hook them on the second one. By about the third one, you might. And then if they've picked up your third book and read that first, they will go back and read your first two books if they've enjoyed it. So that is actually a key marketing tool. You want to write series books. This is particularly important in fiction. If you've spent all this time and built all this world up and created characters that the readers really love and enjoy, then you want for them to, you want that to carry over more than one book. So that is actually another marketing tip. And finally, my last tip, because this has gone on a little long and I apologize for that. But my last tip is, if we go to, sorry, my list of books now is so huge. But, we have an about the author. They get the back. And although that's gone over 2 pages in my thing, that's where you put your links. And people say, oh, but Lisa, we should put it at the beginning of the book, because then when people do the look inside function, then they can see all your links, even if they don't buy the book. Yeah, you don't want them clicking on your links if they're not interested in your book. But if you provide those links on the very first page, see, I've got a thing here, keep an eye out for the next book. Another marketing tip here. Then there's my links. They can go and follow me and see what else they've done. But there, see, that's another marketing ploy. The epilogue of this book is actually written from the next book's character's point of view. And I've basically given them chapter 1 of the next book at the end of this book with the notice that says, what did I write there? Oops. Keep an eye out for the most unsuitable prints coming in fall of 2025. That's the book I'm writing now. But yes, that's what you do. That's all part of your marketing strategy. Think about series. Think about encouraging readers. If you haven't done that yet, but you've written another book in the similar genre, you can put at the end of your book, when you're asking your readers for reviews, because have I mentioned that one yet? It's always a good idea at the end of your book to write something like, if you enjoyed the story, I would really appreciate you leaving a review at your place of purchase. If you enjoyed this, have you seen and link to another book, or link to another series, or link to something else? And if you haven't got that, that's when you tell them to look for the book you've got coming and when it's going to be out. So while this hasn't been an exactly structured and probably very professional video, I do hope you've managed to glean some helpful points in here. And obviously, if you have any questions at all, put them in the comments below, because I will be sure to answer. Please, if you feel that it's worth it, you could hit the like button, maybe the subscribe button. As I say, I put out videos now on Mondays and Thursdays, and I am looking to do some lives that'll probably be next month. So keep an eye on my community posts, which is you'll get to see if you're subscribed, just saying. But whatever you do, please keep writing, my friends, because yeah, the world is waiting for your stories. They just need to know that you've written it and finished it first. We'll catch you in the next video, my friends. Bye.